Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in any part of the world. We are live again. It's a Monday on Radio Works. This is Every Woman Dreams show. Like always, this is a show where I bring to you exciting stories of women from across the globe who are making changes and making impacts in their communities. Today, we are discussing youth and drugs. This has been a phenomenon, is continually to be a phenomenon that affects the world at large. In Ghana, we have a young youth activist who is the founder of Student for Sensible Drug Policy, a member of Student for Sensitive Drug Policy International, and a columnist in Business and Financial Times who writes on drugs, policies, and human rights. In 2016, she was the UN Youth Ambassador at the UN General Assembly Special Session. Welcome to Every Woman Dream Show, Miss Joanna Ekwama Boateng.
Thank you. Thank you on your show. Looking
All
forward to
right.
for discussion.
Thank you for making time to join us today. You have such an exciting profile, and we'll be going down with that as we continue with our conversation. So, to start with, before we delve into your works around youth policy and drugs and the work of your foundation that you have founded, Youth for Sensible Drug Policy, Student for Sensible Drug Policy, SSDP. How did it start for you as a young person growing up? What was the story behind your interest in working in the area of youth and drugs?
As a young person growing up, I was born in Dansoman. I was rather fortunate to have parents who were loving and who were they were always up and running, trying to make sure that we were comfortable. But along the way, when I closed from school, I'm street and look at how the average Ghanaian lives. So I made some time back. I made a stop at the Glefe, and I saw so many young people. I was wondering, I mean, what are they doing here? What is their story?
Yeah.
So back in school, I found myself being friends with someone who was into drugs, specifically marijuana. And I always criminalized, stigmatized this person. But I never found out exactly what his story is and why he was doing what he was doing. So I think I didn't give this person the chance to tell me exactly what his problem, his story. So I ended up, not giving the person that love, the care, the attention. And down the lane, he comes to me and he tells me, listen, I'm not a junkie. I have a story. I do this because I want to calm down. I do this because it calms me. I do this because that's the only life that is so pleasant. I don't have any other. But if you want to help me, just help me, but don't look down on me. So it really touched me.
Sure, I can imagine.
I started doing my own research into drugs, started asking questions, started looking for policies around drug policy. And by then, I was actually producing for Africa in Focus by Emmanuel K. Benson. I was an assistant producer for that show on Radio XYZ. And I was talking to him about this particular issue. And he was like, oh, I have this organization called West African Drug Policy Network. You can be the youngest person on, and you can help champion this cause. You can help people into rehabilitation. You can let your voice be heard. So that was how I found myself in Student for Sensible Drug Policy through West African Drug Policy Network. When I got on board, I realized there was no youth voices. There was no youth inclusion in our drug policy discussion. We go for meetings, we go to places, and we have these parliamentarians talking about it without asking questions about what is the young person talking about. Because at the end of the day, it goes long way to affect we, the young person, and it goes long way to affect our generation. So I went online and I chanced on Student for Sensible Drug Policy, sent them an email that, hey, I want to found one in Ghana. How can I do it?
Yeah.
And they sent me an email, guided me through it. And I started with just 3 people. Now we have 5 chapters in 5 universities in Ghana.
Wow.
So
Congratulations on that.
Thank you. It's been an awesome journey. Tiring, scary, but it was worth the hassle.
Right, right. So what are some of the activities that Student for Sensible Drug Policy undertakes? What are some of the activities?
Okay, so we have each chapter in each institution have the annual meetings.
When you say institution, are you referring to the university campuses?
The universities. So we have our headquarters in University of Professional Studies. That's where our head office too is, because we started with them. It was the second school that we started with them. And then we have Wisconsin University. We have University of Ghana. We have people in KNUST also trying to champion it. We have Regent University, of which I started myself. So basically, we have an annual open forum, which I launched in 2016 to bring young people to dialogue with stakeholders on the way forward and how we can identify people who are into drugs and help them into rehabilitation. Because Kofi Annan said drugs have harmed many, but bad policies have harmed many more.
Exactly.
We young people restructure the drug policy system in Ghana. So we go onto the streets, we have car wash to raise funds. We launched a program called Good Old Days, where we used to raise funds to help people into rehabilitation. We go to outreaches, we go to the senior high schools to talk to them. We go to the marketplaces to talk to people, engagement. And we are about to have the first summit in Ghana, bringing all the 9 West African countries together. So basically, that's what we've been doing, writing something that we try to go by.
This is awesome. So, what are some of the taking us through some of the policies that you try to fight for a change on? Can you mention a few of those milestones that you've achieved? Can you share with us?
Okay, so some of the milestones was being able to get government to incorporate rehabilitation into our drug policy system, because the Ghana focuses more on criminalization, imprisonment, rather than an alternative way to help people. So we've been able to incorporate rehabilitation and drug education. But what we're trying to push forward is to decriminalize use. When we talk about decriminalization, Parliament and people in Ghana think we are saying people should walk on the streets of Accra smoking marijuana. But that's not what we are saying. We are saying that take the criminal aspect of it and have an alternative punitive approach and public health approach to it. We've been also we've been able to.
Could you let me hold you on that? Could you make a few suggestions that you have made to Parliament, for example?
Okay, so we've been able to make suggestions on public health, rehabilitation, and then public health, rehabilitation, and education. But government is not ready to go into harm reduction and decriminalization.
So that's something you're still fighting on.
Yeah, that's something we're still fighting on, because then if we are not able to go from decriminalization to public health fully, then it means we've not achieved anything. It means that people are still being thrown in jail without a fair trial and forgotten in jail.
Right. Could you share some of the communities that you've mentioned, going to market and schools and communities? Could you share some of the communities you've worked through in Ghana, for example, and perhaps other places if you have?
Okay, so we've worked in the Volta region.
All right.
We went into one of the remotest areas in Volta region. I mean, it was really interesting, but it was worth it. We've worked in the Central region. We've been able to go to some schools in the Central region. In Accra, we visited schools in Adenta. I think WAS Secondary was part of it. We've been able to visit, I think it's one Islamic secondary school. Invited us to come talk to them. We've been able to have our own form of a play fun moment where people come together thinking we are having fun, but we end up
Yeah.
having a roundtable discussion, because if you don't discuss the problem, you will never find ways by which you can solve it.
Okay.
So basically, these are some of the communities that we've been working with in Accra, Volta region, respectively.
So what are the informed positions or choices? How do you come about these communities? Are they prior information? Do you do any checks on these places? Do you have any idea about how much young people are on drugs in those communities? What informs your choice of selection?
Okay, so we had a drug policy report from West African Drug.
Okay.
Commission on Drugs. Sorry, I think there's been a glitch.
Yeah, sorry, that's okay.
Out of the West African Commission on Drugs report, it was reported that about 1.2 million of the youthful population are into drugs in West Africa.
In West Africa. Yeah.
That trafficking drugs come from Accra,
okay,
region, Volta region, to the northern region, and then to Benin, Cote d'Ivoire, South Asia, and Europe.
All right.
I looked at where drugs are being trafficked. Realized that Accra, Volta region, Central region, Northern region, where drugs are being trafficked the most.
The most, okay. So that which ends up making the youth more vulnerable to it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Because per the report, 1.2 million of the youth population in West Africa alone are into drugs.
That's scary.
That's scary. If you take Ghana alone, you realize that there's a chunk of people
into drugs.
Exactly.
Okay. So let's take a break on the term drugs. What are the most commonly used drugs in Ghana? Your work. What would you say are the most commonly used among young people?
Marijuana is the most used drugs, but people are shifting from the illegal drugs to the legal ones.
All right.
The illegal drugs. The legal ones have the same effects.
Okay.
As the legal ones. So people are beginning to use tramadol, codeine, as drugs. And aside these two drugs, people are using super glue.
Yeah.
And that's very funny.
Right. I mean, very crazy stuff, huh?
So basically, those are the drugs being used. You realize in Ghana, there's that grow at the back of our buildings. And growing up with food is poisonous.
Yeah.
That is a drug. Called magic
mushroom. Wow.
And it's an LSD. People are using it. Government doesn't
about it. Yeah. Hello?
Yeah, hello. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me? Yes, I can hear you. Hello, Joanna. Hello, Joanna.
Hi. Hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. So go on. Okay, I think we are having a little bit of a challenge with
Hello.
Joanne's connect. Yes, good to have you back. Yes, please go on. Good to have you back. So we were looking at we're looking at the type of drugs that young people in Ghana are mostly using. So
so basically, the marijuana, the 10 days
yes.
urine, they classify all those things as drugs because it makes them high.
Yes.
Tramadol, cocaine, those are the widely used drugs in Ghana.
Used now, yes.
Yeah.
So, in your interactions with the communities, the people that you deal with, you interact with, what are the most commonly feedbacks you get from those people on drugs? What are their motivation? What really pushed them into, like the story of your friend who gave you the motivation to start this?
Okay,
what are some of the stories you hear from those communities?
Some of them are peer pressure.
Okay.
Some of them are broken homes. Some of them are streetism.
Right.
Single parenthood. And it will surprise you to know that this year's World Draft Report, that's the 2018 World Draft Report, indicated all that I have mentioned, that single parenthood
leads people into drugs.
Treatism, peer pressure, and then the pressure that people they give to us in our secondary schools and in our tertiary. Also play a very
the stress that it comes with.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Great. So could you share with us some of the apart from the policy success stories, the individual success stories, some of the most significant stories you've had in your work?
Well, I have a couple of them. Some of them they are not able, they don't go fully into the rehabilitation process, and then they become okay. Currently we have one lady in rehabilitation, and we are trying to raise funds to help her. Very beautiful lady, but circumstances
led her into drugs.
We have my friend that I was talking about.
Yes.
He's now like a free person. He doesn't use drugs anymore.
Wow, awesome.
He's doing so well in his career.
Oh, great.
We have some people that have worked up to us, having mental health issues one way or the other, or drug issues one way or the other. We've been able to help them. Some of them are personal friends.
Oh.
Yeah, so if you need anything, just call me. I can offer the advice. Just that act of love.
Yeah.
Them going.
The passion to want to see the change.
Exactly.
Wow, this is beautiful. Have you done any activity or project? Has your outfit, done any activity with the Senior Correctional Center in Ghana?
Not really. We've been trying to get to do that. We just had a light from one of the medical facilities in Ghana here, who would be having a medical checkup for people in the correctional units in the prison.
Right.
And we've been able to partner with them.
Okay.
Yeah, because one of our major concerns is going to the prison. Because they still get access to the drugs in prison.
Right.
Yeah. So
my recent interaction with them proved that they do still have access even in the prison.
The truth is, the prison service, even they are aware, because when you take a problematic drug user into prison, they undergo what we call withdrawal symptoms. If they don't get access to these drugs, we may lose them.
Yeah, we may even lose them. Yes.
Some of them will just go like haywire and all that.
And they would go every length to get it again.
Exactly. So they are aware, but you just have to close your eye on it. The question is, what is the permanent situation to this?
Solution, yes, exactly.
And we have so many, but it's just that we don't want to channel our resources into it. And it's more expensive to criminalize than to decriminalize.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I believe that is what your outfit is doing, so government can buy into it.
Exactly.
Mm. This is great. I mean, student for sensible drug policies. You're doing awesome. And Joanna Boateng being the founder. So you are the founder in Ghana, right?
Yes. I have
Yes.
given the presidency to the students so that they can
Okay.
also run affairs whilst I
They
step
can
back.
also. All right.
Yeah.
And that's a great sign of leadership. I should commend you for that. Yes.
Thank
Your
you.
story is very motivating and really touching. And to find that a young person like you has given your whole heart out to fight towards the cause of ensuring that drug policies are decriminalized, as well as educating young people on the harmful use of drugs. This is a very exciting story. Let's talk about your dream about young people in this fight on curbing drug use, hard drug use among young people. What would be your greatest dream that you would wake up one day? What do you want to see?
Okay, so basically, SSDP is just like a hobby. It's a side thing that I do. I'm passionate about it.
Okay.
Aside the many jobs that I do, I feel this is something that maybe I was brought into the world to impact and to change lives. But I see a world, a drug-free world. Even though we can't have 100% drug-free world, I can see a world where young people have been given the chance to lead. Young people who have been given a voice, and a world where young people can stand up for their rights. A world where resources will be channeled into the vulnerable society instead of things that are not, worthy or worthy enough. I mean, it's my dream to have 10 years or 5 years to come, Ghana having like one of the biggest rehabilitation centers, helping people with rehabilitation and reintegrating them back into the society.
Exactly. That's the most important part of it. Yes.
Through vocational training, through counseling,
yeah,
and a whole lot. That
right.
is my dream, and that dream can be realized if we all join hands together.
Sure.
This is together to achieve it.
Right. This is great. You're right. This is a dream that can be realized if we all put hands together. I mean, the government is worried about the continuous use of drugs among young people. Youth activists are worried about it. Parents are worried. People are worried, but worrying isn't enough, I guess. Worrying isn't enough. We need to push forward and be forthcoming in ensuring that we join hands to fight this cause and support these young people. Like you rightly said earlier on, most of the people who go into drugs are not just doing it for fun. They're doing it as an escape route to pain, to anger, frustration, or any emotional pain or even physical pain that they might be going through. And thank you for taking up the mantle to do this. And we will be there to support in any way that we can. I'm sure myself and my listeners are really happy to know that a young person like you and most other young people who are working together with you are to support the drug ministry we have in Ghana and of course and beyond. Thank you for joining me on this show. If you've enjoyed today's session, please do send us an email on info@radioworks.world, info@radioworks.world, so you can be featured on this show. What will be your final words to myself and to our listeners, Joanna?
I would like to say thank you for your selfless dedication and all that you're doing to ensure that young, beautiful, dedicated women are brought into the limelight and their voice are being heard all over the world. It's
Thank
awesome.
you too for that compliment.
I want you to keep on, and I want you to go for it and go for it. But I'm sure people would be happy and proud to jump on to support you for the great work that you're doing yourself.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that.
I will entreat governments, youth agencies or youth groups and other people to come on board, because this is not an individual fight. There's a fight for many. There's a fight for a lot of us. So we should come and save millions, because we are the future leaders of tomorrow. We can't just watch things crumple down.
Exactly.
We need to fight, and we have to fight it. This is the Ghana that our forefathers gave to us. We can't watch it go bad. We can't watch it just crumple. But we can do it together as a team, a family, and one nation.
Great. Thank you for that piece. My guest today has been Joanna Ikwamo-Boateng. She is the founder of Student for Sensible Drug Policies in Ghana, and also a member of SDDP, that is Student for Sensible Drug Policy International in the United States. Thank you so much for joining me, Joanna, on today's show. It's been it's Every Woman Dream Show every Monday at 12 p.m. London time. Join me on Radio Wax, same time next week. Bye-bye for now.
Bye.